Okay, welcome to the July 9th Board of Selectmen meeting, or Select Board meeting. First item is to move the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Carried. New business, consideration of the road agreement with the town of Gray. Before we get into that, I just want to say that it would never have gotten to this level without the work of Teresa, Dawn, and a lot of the people in the office, including Nathan. So a big shout out to them to get us to this point here and getting this thing done.
I was just the pain in the butt that kept bringing it.
So, Dawn, you want to?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to say thank you for that, and also to add Steve LaValle, Public Works Director at Gray, and Deb Cabana, Gray Town Manager, and Bob King, and many other residents and of Raymond and Gray working together. So this is the culmination of, I don't even know how long, it could be 50 years of this no man's land issue between the two towns, where we have now two significant public roads that have a small section of private road between them. But what comes with this agreement is the resolution of that long-standing problem, and the problem is that the road is in a very poor state of repair. It makes for unsafe travel. It's difficulty for our ambulances, fire trucks, any manner of vehicle that would want to access a significant portion of the town of Gray. And so it's a part of the town of Gray, of course, that we've serviced from a public safety standpoint for many years. So, but the problem comes in that, we have over 200 miles of private road, and so we can't just willy-nilly accept private road. So what happens is we came up with a quid pro quo, an exchange of goods and services, and then also between the towns. And so there was also contributions from the private citizens of Raymond, private citizens of Gray, road associations of Gray. So what comes together is a package that's around $100,000 that is revenue neutral to Raymond, in that our contribution is basically $67,500 that we were going to spend anyway to acquire a used Gray plow truck and some wheel lifts. And so we're going to be able to get that equipment, and instead of paying the town of Gray, they're going to donate the equipment to us, and then we in turn, as authorized by town meeting, will donate that amount of money towards the project. When you couple that with the contributions from the citizens, you come up to the total project. And so on the long term, we're going to be picking up a couple miles of plowing on the Gore and Brown roads, and that are now plowed by a private contractor for the town of Gray, which will save them about $10,000 a year, present day dollars. They're going to, the quid pro quo, pick up a couple miles of road for us on the North Raymond Road, and probably a portion of the Pond Road, but it's subject to negotiations. Nathan has some ideas about future exchanges, so they can work that out between the two town public works directors. But the essence of that is a little plowing on this side of town where it's convenient for us, a little plowing on the side of town of Raymond for Gray that's convenient for them. So it makes sense. So basically, as I say, it's a win-win deal. Gray, becomes revenue neutral in just less than a decade, and for us it just is an exchange of monies that we're going to expend anyhow. So I think it was a creative solution, and it took everybody working together, and then the respective Board of Selectmen and the Gray Town Council. As I understand it, it was unanimously approved at Gray, with the exception of the people or person who had contributed to the fundraising, resident of the Gray area of Gray, who's also a counselor. So we're ready to approve it and move forward. Nate's already done some preliminary rough-in work, some tree work, and some earthwork.
I rode up there twice, and there is no potholes. They did patch those, and the tree work that they've done is unbelievable. Unfortunately, I picked one day that they were very busy, so I rode all the way down to the bottom to make it look like I wasn't just being nosy, and then came back up. But then I went up on the weekend, and the people, the homeowners, are taking the trees to help them, with the wood and stuff like that, like for their burners. But it's nice and wide up there right now. It looks nice. It really does, and it's just the beginning.
Yeah, that was contract work by Q Team so far, and then we did some grading. Yeah.
Any questions on the agreement?
I do. What is the date of this agreement?
The date of the agreement,
Well, let me ask the question another way. Has Deb Cabana signed this agreement already?
Yes.
Yes, she has.
Okay, because the copy I have is unsigned.
yes, it's been signed.
Okay.
In fact,
They
I
just
thought you meant
approved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
the effective date will be when it's executed by both towns.
That's
Gray
fine.
has approved it.
That's,
I thought you meant when does it, in terms of
No,
when
I
it
asked
comes
the wrong
active,
question to get the right answer. Okay.
2021, I believe.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, and the reason that I called this into session, because originally we weren't going to meet tonight.
Right.
By doing this, there's some time elements in there, and we get as soon as we, seeing as that they've approved it, as soon as we approve it, then the clock starts on when we get the equipment and things like that, so it gets that stuff into our hands a little bit sooner.
That's fine.
I believe she signed it last Wednesday.
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would move that we accept the proposed interlocal agreement on Gore Road as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
And that would authorize me to sign it?
That authorizes you to
Right.
sign it.
Okay.
RSU Withdrawal Committee update. We met a couple of weeks ago. We are still working out a couple of things on our counter proposal to the school on the separation agreement, and that should be squared around relatively soon, and then we'll represent that to the school. We did have some people that came to the meeting. We've got some of the subcommittee work is starting. Marshall is working with some people on the budget. We've got some, Kate is working on getting programs and things like that underway, so things are starting to move there. We are still looking for more people to come in and volunteer to be on some of the subcommittees so we can get work going on all the areas. Teresa's working on the One Raymond concept side of that, on how we can do some things there to do some cooperation between the new school and the town. So,
Well, on that, we are meeting the week of we're meeting the 24th at 10 a.m.
Yeah, right.
And it's
Yeah.
Marshall and Kevin Woodbury and Kathy Rickard, Don Willard, myself, Nathan, and if anybody else wants to come from the public, it will be held here because we're going to have it on video, and that way it's more input.
If I can come in
you
here.
may.
The budget process started with the actual Raymond School District budget as presented to the town in 2008, 2009. We have taken that budget and brought it to 2019 where we possibly could, where the cost centers were clearly assignable back to the old budget. There's a lot of holes. So now I'm comfortable that we have a foundation from which to build the budget. And the reason we are having this meeting is that so that we can fill in some of the gaps that were spread cost center wise throughout the whole RSU 14 organization rather than specific to Raymond Elementary School and Jordan Small School. Technology being one, facilities being another. We'll address issues such as nurse guidance, superintendent's issues at a later date, but this gives us a foundation for the hard assets, which is where I wanted to go with that.
I thought you were going to stop at that word when you said hard. But did you see the school board's budget books? They're huge, and what we're going to
Yeah,
do is
that's
get
it.
it
Makes
back to the basics.
Well,
You know what I
it's
mean? It's-
back to the basics. We had 450 cost center items in the 08 budget, and I understand without counting them, they have around 1,700 cost centers. A lot of those are state mandated, but we can come in and say nursing was cost center 2130. Well, you can go into the 2020 budget and pull out 2130s, but you can't do it to RES
Yeah.
because there's 5 schools involved or 6 schools involved. So that's where we are now. And again, what I said before, I want to get back to, or I want to start with the hard assets, the building and the computer system. That's why we have this meeting with Nathan and
Okay.
Kevin set up. And then we will go to the softer assets like guidance and so forth and so on.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where we are, and we really need a couple more people to serve on that committee. Right now, there's 3.
So the meeting on the 24th is for the finance subcommittee?
No,
No.
it's for
Okay.
the town of Raymond, the town, like the one Raymond concept, the town and the
Okay,
school.
the one
To see what
Raymond
we can do together to
subcommittee.
save costs and work
Okay.
together. So we're
Because
not
I
duplicating.
need to get it on the calendar and on the sign.
From that, I can pull
What would you
budget
call
processing.
that?
So you'll benefit from it, but it's not.
Well,
It's
a
not
little
just
history
not your
after that.
meeting.
You want me to give a little history on One Raymond?
Yes.
Sure.
So a little history on One Raymond. It's not something that we originated, but the most prominent example, I think, in Maine, and I'm assuming it's still operating, is the town of Cape Elizabeth. And I think that they call it One Town or Our Town or something like that. But I thought it was an interesting concept, and the idea was why, and we were already doing some of that back, almost 20 years ago when we had these first discussions. We were already working with our school. But why not see if there are additional areas, if we could work together more intensively, because it's one tax dollar, to see if, for instance, they have a groundskeeping crew, we have fields that need to be maintained, we have public works capabilities, they need plowing, they have cleaning capabilities, we need cleaning, we had computers, we have accounting, we have staff people who could do that part, back office stuff for them. So that's what Cape Elizabeth does, and we were exploring all the different places where we could come together, work together, and save resources by not duplicating equipment or personnel or programs or other assets. And so that's One Raymond, is let's see what we can do together to save money and improve efficiency. And ultimately, it's one tax dollar.
And capping on that, it's my assumption, and hopefully it'll come true, that the facilities manager will be a town employee and not a school employee.
Right.
And the technology supervisor will be a town employee and not a school employee. There will be underling employees in those areas, but I think the direct responsibility for facilities will fall with the town employee.
That all depends. We can set it up that way, but as we do a school board and they pick a board, that school board may choose to hire on their own people for whatever reason if they're not going to work together. But they would have to explain that extra cost that the taxpayers are going to be duplicating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm okay starting that up,
That's fine.
but it's their call to say whether.
Okay,
Yeah.
my position would be to come up with a budget that goes into place
Yes.
July 1, 2022,
Yes.
for 1 year. After that, it's the school board's problem.
Yes. And I think that's what our
And so
job
that's my
is.
target, is 2022, July 1, 2022, for a
Yep.
operable budget. And then they go from there. If they want to expand employees, then that's a school board choice. But it's up to us to get the finances up and running, I
And keep in mind, what's happening at the front end here is getting things in place. There'll be public hearings and
Right.
things like
think.
that to bring this all out, so that when the people go to have a final vote as far as whether they want to do the separation or not, then they'll have the information there that says, here's, if we do this,
Right.
here's what we're going to be seeing, here's what we expect to be able to see for services, here's what we expect to be able to see for
Yes.
budget and things like that. So it's, there's a long ways to go to get there.
Thank you.
Any public
No.
comment? Selectmen's comments? Okay, I'm going to, town manager report and communications.
I guess tonight we're just going to confirm a couple of dates for upcoming regular meetings, August 13th and September 10th.
September 10th is the date we had tentatively scheduled an RSU 14 withdrawal
Okay,
meeting for that night, so if,
so you want to push that by a week, maybe?
yeah, if that's not a problem for the board members.
No.
What date was that? Sorry.
So that would be the
17th.
17th of September.
Oh.
No?
So, no, I'm good. I'm thinking August in the brain. My
So
bad, I'm sorry.
9:10 at 6 o'clock is an RSU withdrawal meeting.
Yes. And actually, the Finance Committee actually
We'll meet at
What time?
5,
at 4 or
We'll
5.
be
yeah.
attending that meeting, yes.
But you'll be meeting an hour before that.
And we'll be
Yes.
attending that meeting.
Mhm. And is that workshop, is it executive session or a combination of both?
It'd probably be a combination,
Okay.
because we'll keep the executive session listed on there in case there's a response from,
Mhm. Yeah.
Actually, can we go back a second, point of order? If we're gonna put something else on the executive session tonight, do I put that under selectman comment? Or do we come out of executive session and put it on there?
no, what you do
No.
is you make your motion for the executive session referencing both.
Both of them? Even though they're two separate things?
Yep.
And I'm asking you, and I'm the parliamentarian.
Because
Learning.
all that motion will do is say what you're going to do in the executive session. If we take any action as a result in the executive session, and when we come out, then we have to vote on that.
And you can't take any action, and so, yeah, there you go. Got it.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
So, is the 17th works for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Are you done with town manager's report?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm moving the treasurer's warrant ahead of the executive session motion, so you want to just,
a motion to accept treasurer's warrant in the amount of $62,342.12.
So moved.
And I didn't need or
Second.
glasses.
all those in favor?
Okay, we have a second one. Motion to accept treasurer's warrant in the amount of $58,369.84.
Is there a motion?
What was that number again?
Can I have a second? She's made a motion.
$58,369.84.
And the other one was?
Motion to approve.
$62,342.
Second Sam's motion to approve.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. Now you can make your motion.
I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session, consideration of town manager's annual review and, hold on one second. And, hold on, just gotta find that up. And,
Selectman Sadak,
yes,
if you do the pursuant to after what you just said, and then go onto your and.
pursuant to, oh, I just jumped out of that one. Okay, Marshall, go ahead. You do the first one, I'll do the second one.
Motion to go into executive session under
MRSA.
MRSA 4056A for a personnel issue.
And a motion to go into executive session.
14056C to discuss a land issue.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion is carried.
This means goodbye, Lorraine.
We are in
Move to come out of executive session.
Second.
all those in favor?
Move to proceed with the land use as discussed.
Second.
All in favor?
Move to,
Extend,
Extend.
extend,
Extend it.
extend the town manager's contract
right,
and
with contingencies as discussed.
Second.
second,
All those in favor?
Move to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor? For a third, meeting is adjourned.